Hello, this is Albert from AWB Electrical and Marine Services. Today I'm just going to give a very brief rundown on doing a shaft alignment on boats. So with this example here, we've actually just changed engine mounts. So this was a bit of a stitch up job. The original mounts were a different mount, so we had some few problems. Big thing of note, this stud that goes into here, do not Loctite that in and put a bit of lubricant on it. So when you thread it down, it's locked. It's basically will wind out. The previous installer, whoever installed this engine, was kind enough to glue these down with silicone, so they had to be peeled up, and then they also bottomed these out and either put no lubricant in them and just lock the threads down, or they put Loctite in them, and we had to basically cut the threads off whilst we're jacking the engine up to get these mounts out and to replace them. So yeah, so in a marine application, please use lubricant. The other mounts were only 5mm thick here, and these are 20mm thick. So because they're 15mm thicker, we had to compensate and put longer bolts in. So as a general rule, whatever your bolt diameter is, you should be minimum of 1.5 times that diameter for minimum thread engagement strength. In softer materials, it's longer. So these are 12mm threads. So 12mm threads, so 1.5, 6, so 18 mil? Yeah, 18 mil. 18 mil should be minimum. So you'll be looking somewhere around the 20 mil mark for thread engagement. So these are captive threads inside these fiberglass beds. When you're aligning a motor, it's very easy to get caught in an endless loop and not know what you're doing. But the best thing to do is align it vertically first, and that's easy. Just put a straight edge on the top or the bottom, and just go through that. Once you're aligned vertically, then it's just a matter of basically getting back into the ballpark, because then you can bar the motor around left and right to do left and right, and that will basically get you your parallel. And then for your angles, you can then start playing with the threads and jacking it up and down. So yeah, so the way I do it is I generally basically work on try and get your parallels from vertical first, because that's the hardest one, because you're having to prop it up and pry it up and up and down. And then normally when you're barring it around, it's very easy to bar it around left and right. And then work on the angularity. Sometimes you got to go back to the start and start again. But when you're doing it, a good, quick, easy way, rather than sitting there putting feeler gauges and straight edges to it, is you'll know when you're coming close to it, because these bolts will basically line up and they'll go straight in like that in all positions, like that. So you can tell if they go in easy in all the positions like that. It's a bit hard to see because the angle's funny. You know you're pretty close to the mark, and then from there you can then start doing your angle adjustments and start putting your feeler gauges in and working on that. But if you're basically trying to use feeler gauges when you're a mile out, you're going to be wasting a heap of time and effort and ripping your hair out, just trying to get the thing lined up. So the main thing is just get in the ballpark. You'll know when you're getting there close, because the bolts will have even pressure as you're pushing it in the whole way around. And then the other way to tell is when you push the shaft up, engage it, it'll just lock in the whole way around. It generally provides something known as munted around here. You can put a straight edge around here, and it should feel the same way all the way around it. So you can tell, So it's pretty basic. But yeah, so hopefully that helps someone. And then generally with this, if it's on the hard stand, you've got to redo it on the water, and then I'd recommend personally, after about 5 hours of use, you'd probably recheck it again in the water, because they just let the mount settle it down on that. So if you're within, I'd say parallelness is more important than angularity in my opinion. So parallel, you really want to be within 2 thou if you can for parallel, and angularity, I think it's about 3 thou if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, because if it's out of parallel, you'll basically destroy this cutlass bearing in here really, really quickly. And normally that's a common sign. If you've got chewed cutlass bearings, it's because this alignment here is not right, and you'll have all sorts of problems. So yeah, this is not something that you could explain very easily in a video, because it's very, very fiddly, and this engine hold is extremely tight for this boat, and it was a very, very painful job to do. The bigger boats are actually easier, and if you're doing it as a pump, you normally do a laser liner or DTR dial indicators, which is a lot easier because then you've got room around it. So, and realistically, boat stuff, it doesn't have to be exact like you would do like a pump alignment. So, thank you, and if there's any questions, shoot them through.